Hey, what's up, guys? In the last 12 months, we have booked over 10,000 high ticket life insurance and tax planning appointments specifically with business owners for life insurance agents and financial advisors. And this is the exact script we've used to do that. So I actually made this video 4 months ago, and I told you guys that we create script changes and improvements every single week. So this is the update 4 months later. This is our most up-to-date script that we are using right now. So without further ado, let's dive into it. So there's a color code here, and there's different sections that we are going to go over. So the brand that we are calling from is Preserve Wealth Group. Therefore, our opening line is, hey, is this John? Yes, who is this? Hey, this is Pavel with Preserve Wealth Group. So that's how we open every single call. Now, as you'll see in the color code here, there's orange for downward tonality and there is green for upward tonality. So when you want to create a question that doesn't sound like a question but more like an affirmation, you use downward tonality, and that is more likely to have people comply with whatever you're saying. This is why when we ask for their name, we already know their name. We don't say, hey, is this John? We say, hey, is this John? Because it sounds more confident. So that's our opening line. And then they say, yes, this is John. Who's this? This is Pavel with Preserve Wealth Group. You inquired on one of our ads about the tax saving strategies for business owners. Is that correct? Again, downward tonality. We want to create certainty. So from the moment they answer this, it's extremely important for our appointment setters to be very attentive to their response. So if the person is super confident, typically that's going to happen more with fresh leads that just applied and they say, oh yeah, absolutely, I was waiting for your call, then you can skip what is in yellow right here. But if you get a semi-certain answer or an uncertain answer, it is crucial that you do not keep going. Your appointment setting call is based on foundations, just like a house. So if you have shaky foundations in the beginning of your set or your appointment setting call, this is going to lead to either not setting a qualified lead or setting the appointment but getting a no-show. So we really want to build our calls from a solid foundation from the get-go. So if the person is uncertain, we're just going to validate and show them we care by asking, so just to confirm, am I speaking to John from Ohio? And then they're like, yeah. Oh, okay. So do you recall clicking on an ad talking about how to pay less taxes? That was 3 weeks ago. So we can actually see in our system when they applied. And we just want to get confirmation that they remember they're the one who initiated this conversation. And we want them to remember why we're calling, what we're calling about, all that. So once we get a solid foundation in our call, this is sort of the opening section, then we move into the frame setting section. So this is the frame we use. Perfect. I know we have a limited amount of time available here, so I'd like to just confirm a few details with you quickly to see if we would be in a position to help. And if we have alignment, I can actually schedule a free consultation for you so we can dive into all the details. Sounds good? So again, if is going to be upward tonality, sounds good. I like to use downward tonality here. So we'd like to dive into all the details. Sounds good. And then they proceed to accept the frame. So once they say yes, now you dive into the info gather section. So just to clarify, is there a specific tax situation or issue that you're looking for help with, or are you just kind of looking to optimize your tax liability right now? So I love this opening question because it allows us to discover why they're here, why they clicked on the ad without asking a silly question like, why did you click on the ad? Which you're never going to get a good answer if that's your opening question. You want to directly attack the challenge, directly attack why they're here, and then the rest of the conversation is strictly going to talk about how you can solve that problem for them. So a lot of people are going to say, yeah, I do have this specific thing I'm looking for. I want to sell my business in 5 to 10 years, and I want to minimize my capital gains, tax liability, for example. Or I've got a lot of retained earnings in my corporation. I've accumulated $5 million. I've accumulated $500,000. Or sometimes we've heard I've accumulated $15 million in my corporation, and I want to know how I can take it out now or later at a more efficient tax rate, basically. So this is where the appointment setter, who is trained on the different types of strategies or the direction that the advisors can help the business owners with, is going to be able to create a lot of value from the get go. And that's very important. So, this is another important pillar, right? You have the opening line, making sure they know why you're calling, and they remember that they're the one who initiated this. They reached out to us. That's the first pillar. Second pillar is the frame. So they need to accept your frame. That's pillar number two. And again, you need to get solid yeses in both situations before you can move forward. Otherwise, you're going to have a shaky setting call. And then the question. So you need to get a solid challenge. That's pillar number three. Once you have a solid challenge and maybe you've had a few exchanges on it, you've built a little bit of value, you've started to create that gap. Now you can move more into logistical questions to further qualify. So, can I ask you what industry you're in? Do you have just one business at the moment, or do you have multiple businesses or multiple sources of income? Are you so we call both US and Canadian business owners. So, are you structured as an LLC, S Corp, C Corp? Are you, or in Canada, we ask, are you incorporated? And then we ask, how long have you been incorporated for? What's the approximate revenue of the business yearly? Um, and this is another financial qualifier here per country. So in the US, we ask, got it. And can you tell me roughly what you paid in taxes for the last financial year? Or in Canada, we asked, how much profit did your business make last year after paying everyone, including yourself? So we have different appointment tiers. Some appointment tiers are our smallest appointment tier is a minimum of 25K, but we have appointments that start at 500K net profit per year and beyond. So there's different tiers that you can pick from if you are to take our appointments in the future. And same goes for the US. So our minimum tier is 35,000, but we have some tiers where it's 150 plus, 500K plus in taxes that these business owners are paying yearly. So this is sort of the minimum info gather. We also ask them, if that amount is consistent year over year, or if things have changed lately. Sometimes there's a big liquidity event. They might sell a piece of real estate and their taxes were higher for that particular year. So we actually want to make sure that their tax liability or their net profit is consistent year over year. Another way we like to build that gap and actually create even more hope, which is legitimate hope, is by asking this question. So, interesting, other than your accountant or maybe your CPA, are you currently working with a tax mitigator, a tax attorney, or any type of tax strategist that is actively helping you lower your tax year over year? And then most business owners that reach out to us, obviously their answer is going to be no. I only work with my accountant, CPA. They pretty much just file my taxes. They're not really proactive. So this is a very common pain point that we hear all the time from business owners that we set on the calendars of our clients, which are obviously life insurance agents, tax strategists, financial advisors, different types of financial professionals that work with life insurance and taxes. So if they say, yeah, I do have a team, then we're actually going to dive much deeper in that vertical by asking, okay, well, what did this team actually implement for you? How long ago was it? Did your financial situation change since this was put in place? Are you actively working with them still? And depending on that, we're either going to qualify and set the meeting or simply disqualify that meeting because there's no additional value that we can provide in most cases. So, other very important questions. Are you the only owner of the business? Do you plan on continuing to run the business, for a few more years? Do you plan on selling it? Do you plan on passing it down to someone in your family? So these are all very important questions that we ask. And the ones that are in yellow, those ones are a basic ask. But if the person specifically tells us they have a time constraint, so for example, yeah, I don't mind talking to you right now and setting an appointment for later, but I only have 7 minutes until my next meeting, then we're going to be more cautious of their time and we're going to stick to the questions that are not yellow, basically. But yeah, so this is basically our qualification process. So just to recap the pillars: opening line, frame setting, info gather or discovery section. And now we move into pitch and booking, which are very important as well. All of these pillars are important. Like I said, if you miss one of them, you're going to get a no show. If you hit all of them, you're going to have 90% plus show rates, like many of the setters on our team actually are able to maintain, which is really good. So let's keep going. Got it. So we do a recap of their situation based on everything they've covered so they can feel heard and understood and cared for. And we want to create a good, positive customer experience on the phone. After that, we confirm that we do have alignment. We are able to help them and we give them more context about what we do. So we connect you to a team of financial consultants, tax mitigators, and tax attorneys that can take a look at your situation holistically and help you put permanent tax saving strategies in place so that this year and every year moving forward, you're paying the least amount of tax possible. That way, you don't have to rely on write offs or buying depreciating assets. You actually have a permanent solution that allows you to grow your wealth over time. And then if they specifically, requested something in the first question that we can provide, obviously we're going to include that there. Or if they specifically said something they didn't want, then we're going to remove it from here, right? As long as it stays within the scope of what we're able to provide. So some of the clients we work with, they already have the entire team. They already are a financial consultant. They have access to tax mitigators and tax attorneys. But if you don't have access to that, then inside our community, we can actually refer you to many different teams that can help you on these larger cases. So just for some context, our average case size is around $50,000 in commission for the life insurance agent. We do have certain appointment tiers where the average commission per case is over $300,000. But obviously, these cases take a lot longer to close. You often, or almost every time, require more than one financial professional working on the case to make sure it's compliant, it's the best thing for the client, so on and so forth. So yeah, then if they relate to that, that's something they want. They're like, okay, cool, interesting. That sounds great. Then we roll into the second half of the pitch, which is, so what we usually do here is give you some value up front on a free one-on-one Zoom consultation so we can get some clarity on which strategies or combination of strategies align with your situation and goals. And thereafter, the financial professionals can explain how these strategies work and, of course, how much we can save you in taxes every year. Then, if you like what you see, we can also help you implement those strategies as well. Sounds good? Again, downward tonality. Yes, perfect. We get a solid yes. This is now, I believe, our fifth pillar, just to make sure. We've got opening, frame, info gather, pitch. So this was our fourth pillar. We get a solid yes again. So there's another optional line here. So these optional line in yellow, they actually increase the quality of your set. So if you have the time, if you have the connection with the person on the other side of the phone, this is really, really going to increase the quality of your set, the likelihood that the person will show up and close. So our setters are incentivized to use them. So just before we go ahead and schedule that consultation, is there anything else on your end that we haven't discussed about your business or taxes that you feel would be important for me to know? Or do you have any questions for me? So I love that question to wrap up at the end because it shows you're not rushing. It shows you're confident. It removes any uncertainty that this business owner might have regarding meeting with a financial professional based on an ad or a podcast or a YouTube video that they saw online, right? So we clarify any uncertainty there, and then we move into actual pillar number 5, which is the booking sequence. So again, we've got this dialed into a science. Time picking, the booking sequence is super important to maximize your show rate. You've put so much effort into this set to make sure that they were properly qualified. I mean, you had to dial a lot of people just to connect with this person on the phone. They've had this great conversation with you. The last thing you want to do is screw it up at the end because you don't know how to set a solid appointment with the booking sequence and call confirmation. So let me walk you through that. So this is going to be pillar 5 and 6. So just to confirm, you're located in Ontario or you're located in Florida, right? Yes. Awesome. So do you have your calendar with you so we can coordinate a time that suits you and the consultant? This is a little bit long here. I actually wouldn't say all of that. I like to say, perfect. So do you have access to your calendar right now? And then they say, yeah. And then they pull up their calendar. This is super important. We ask them, cool. So what does your day look like today or tomorrow specifically? Okay. So again, I'm going to remove this because this is a little bit too long. I like the word specifically. I think there might two L's. Awesome. So what time Great. This is the exact question that I want to be asking. So what time do you have available today or tomorrow specifically? So we want to book today or tomorrow to maximize show rates. You don't want to book 2 days out, 3 days out. You definitely don't want to book a week out or more because then a great set actually fades away. Everything you've built up in the call fades away with time. So you want to book them quickly and properly. And I'm just going to edit this question so you see it. So perfect. So do you have access to your calendar right now? Keep it simple. Perfect. Do you have access to your calendar right now? Yes. Cool. So what time do you have available today or tomorrow specifically? Now they're actually looking at their calendar and they're telling you, I have this time available. Great. Let's book you in at this time. So what you're going to do now is actually fill up the Calendly or Go High Level or Outlook or Bookings or whichever calendar system you're using. You're going to book the call now and it's going to send them an email to confirm. So what we want to do at that point is make sure that they received, opened, and added to their calendar the actual meeting invitation. So that was time picking. You want them to open up their calendar, look specifically when they're free, book that time. After that, we say, cool. So I've just sent you a calendar invitation. It should be from advisor name. Could you just confirm that you've received it? Then they go in their email and they say, yeah, I got it. Then you say, great. So can you open up that email? In the top left, there should be a button for you to add the event to your calendar. So let me know if that works for you. And again, we get a confirmation that they have added this to their calendar, which is super important. That was the last pillar. Then we just wrap up. So perfect. You should be all set. Just go ahead and click on the Zoom link provided there at the time of the appointment, and you'll be connected to advisor name. Have a great day. Bye for now. And then they say bye, and we just wrap up the call from there. So that's our entire script. There is one more thing that actually doesn't show up on here that we always do, and it's to confirm the time zone. So when they confirm the state, we say, and you're in X time zone, correct? So the reason why is because there's a few states and provinces that are dual time zone. So when you're booking, 10, 12,000 calls a year, that that might be 1 or 2% of your calls, but it still hurts your sales numbers. So we like to make sure that they're also in the correct time zone. For example, Florida has an Eastern and a Central section. So if you assume that they're in Eastern time because of Florida, it might happen a couple percent of the time where you're booking the wrong time zone, and that can create some friction or lower your show rate. So we're very, very proactive with that. So that's the entire setting script. Now, just to wrap up, there's a few common mistakes. Obviously, if you miss any of the pillar, that's a huge flag. That's a huge mistake, and you will pay the price for it in your show rate or in your booking rates. Secondly, not respecting the tonality. Um, so you don't want to sound overly excited. I'm making a YouTube video right now, so I'm definitely more excited, and my tonality is much more volatile and higher paced than how I would talk on the phone. So that's something very important for you to know. I'm actually calm, grounded when I'm on the phone, so that I can instill trust, and that's super important. You don't want to talk like when you're in a YouTube video when you're on the phone. So keep that in mind. Being overly excited is just going to turn people off. Secondly, not listening to their answers. So sometimes you try to follow a script, you try to follow a framework, and you don't actually listen to what the person is saying on the other side of the phone, and you're missing some really important details. So that's another common mistake. And ultimately, as long as you stay clear of these mistakes and you follow this framework, you're going to be able to set some incredible appointments that are going to show up way more than anything else out there in the industry. So we've been able to average around 70% show rate across our entire team last year. Like I said, that was around 10 to 12,000 booked appointments. And we have some of our higher performing setters that are consistently around 90% show rates, and consistently around 80+% booking rates on appointments that connect. So imagine you call a lead, they answer 80% of the time. I think our highest performer is 83% of the time. These people actually book a meeting and they're qualified, which is incredible. And then they show up 90% of the time in this particular case. So great appointment script. This is what we use for all of our sets. And I hope you found some value in this. Obviously, if you want us to book some appointments for you with business owners that are looking to implement tax strategies that involve life insurance, you can visit fondacomedia.com, and there's a button where you can apply and reach out to our team, talk to our team, and see if we have alignment and we can help you with your business goals. If not, then no problem. Hope you found value. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're actually starting a podcast, and we're going to be posting some very interesting, very unique angles about the industry, specifically the high ticket life insurance business and how you can transition into it or increase your results if you're already doing it. So that's it for me today. This was Pavel Boissonneau with Fondaco Media. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.